Hi there. So recently a client asked me to design a blog for him. He's writing a thrice weekly column, meaning he writes an article 3 times a week for his blog, and he wanted to have a pull quote in there. Now, if you're a newspaper person, you might know that term as a cut quote, or if you're using WordPress, you'll see it as a block quote. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to call it a pull quote. And a pull quote is this right here. So you can see it's where you take a sentence from your article and you place it here and you set it apart. Usually you'll do it with a border or making it larger or changing the font or something like that. So this is what it looks like out of the box in WordPress if you just use the Blockquote CSS. So here are some examples of what we'll create by customizing the Blockquote CSS. Okay, so to get this, what we did was, here I have a text module in Divi. So let's go ahead and open that up so I can show you. So here's where the block quote is. So it's just text that I highlighted. I came up here to these quotation marks and I clicked on them. So you can see I just turned it off. And there I just turned it back on. So that's how you can add block quotes. So you'll do that in any text modules. So any of the modules that have a text box that have the MCE here, that's how you'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. So in order to see what CSS it's using, we'll go ahead and right click and inspect element. I'm in Microsoft's Edge. And you can also do this in Chrome and Firefox. So anyways, I right clicked on it, I inspected it, and right here you can see where it says block quote. That is the CSS we want to customize. So we're going to come over here and copy this. So we're going to copy the rule. I'm going to come back into my dashboard. Now I'm in Divi theme options, and down here where it says custom CSS, you can also do this in the theme customizer. And you can also do this if you have a child theme under appearance and theme editor. But we'll just use the custom CSS here in the theme options. So what I'm going to do is right click the CSS that I just copied. And let's start pretty simple. Let's say we want to change this blue line to another color such as red. So what we would do here is where it says border left 5 pixels solid. Let's make it red by going FF0000, and that will turn it red. And let's make the border just a little bit bigger, so we'll go 8 pixels. So this is the border left. That's what's controlling this right here. So we'll go ahead and save it. Okay, it's saved. We'll come back here and I'll refresh the screen. So as you can see now, our border is a little bit thicker and it is now red. So one of the things we look at, we're going to inspect it again. You'll see here it has the paragraph. So this is going to affect the text right here. So it's block quote P, this right here. So let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and copy that rule. Come back to our theme options. This way we can affect the text. So this right here doing the paragraph, it's going to affect the text. So let's say we want to make our font a little bit bigger. And we don't want the font color to be the exact same as this color, and we want to italicize it. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we want to do is font size. So let's say 45 pixels. We want to change the line height. Because if our quote has more than one line to it, we want to make sure it's accounted for. So we're going to do 1.5. We're going to change our color. So I'm just going to do like a kind of a dark gray, and I'm going to put important here. So this will ensure that Divi knows that this is more important to any other CSS that I might have for a paragraph. And then I want to make it italic, so we're going to say font style italic. Again, important. And I'm just going to leave the padding bottom at 0 for now. We'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to hit save. It's saved. We'll come back over here and we will refresh it. So now as you can see, the font color has changed. It's italics and it is larger. All right, one of the things I'm not happy about, I don't like the fact that it's over here on the left, so let's go ahead and change it. So what I'm going to do is come back up here to margin, and I'm just going to make this 50 pixels. So this right here, when there's 3 here, the one in the middle is affecting your right and your left. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. We'll come back over, hit refresh, and as you can see, it's now moved over. I like that better. Now, if you just wanted to use a Divi module to do this, let me show you how to do that. So we'll come over here. This is the page. So I already have this set up. So this right here is using the block quote like I showed you earlier in the text box. This right here is its own text box. You can see I have one module here. So I wanted just to turn a module into it. And again, I'm using the text module here. I would come over here to design and I would do the same thing. I could come to border, change my left border, make it, I think I had it as 8 pixels. I can make it whatever color I want, red. Come over here to spacing, change my left margin, say 50. Then change the padding to whatever you want. So we'll say 15. Change the text size and we'll do 45. And I believe my color was 999 before, so we can just use the same color and make it italics. So as you can see, so we can change the look. So if I publish that, and then we come back here, you can see I've changed that module. Yeah, it's a little different because it's a different color and everything, but that's basically how you would do it. And I'm not going to show you how to customize all of these in the module settings because it's going to get kind of tedious to do that, but I did just want to show you real quick that you can use the Divi Builder's modules to get this look as well. Alright, so let's get back to this. Here we have just one border. Let's say we wanted to have 2 borders, so a left and a right. So we're simply going to copy this and paste it and change the left to the right. So now we have 2 borders. And I want to align the text so it's centered. So we're going to text align center. And I'm just going to do a 20 pixel margin all the way around. I'm going to get rid of my padding. So let's see how that looks. So here are the settings we're going to use. So we'll come back here, we'll refresh. So now we've got borders on both sides. And it's a little bit in because I changed the margins to 20. And we're now centered here. Alright, now let's, instead of putting left and right, let's put it top and bottom. So again, we're just going to come over here, instead of left and right, we'll change it to top and bottom. So we'll say top, bottom, save. Now one of the things, so I did not do is I did not turn off the left border. So let's see what happens. See how it puts this border here? Because that's because in our original block quote CSS, it has a left border. So you need to make sure you turn it off if you don't want it. So to do that, we go border, left, none. So now after we save it, we come back and refresh, this will be gone. See? If you didn't want it to be this boxed in, we just add a little bit of padding, and we can just do that by coming here up top here and just adding padding, and we can just say add 30 pixels, and also add padding all the way around. So go ahead and save that, refresh, and now it gives you just a little bit of distance. One of the things I like to do is curve my borders, so let's do that. So we're going to add a border radius, and in our case we're just going to say like 25 pixels, and get rid of that. And in this case I want to do a left and right one. So we added a border radius here. I changed this back to left and right. We'll come back here, refresh. So now we've got curved borders for our pull quote. Now if you want to really play around and kind of make a little funkier shapes, instead of doing a pixels for the border radius, do a percentage. So we'll say 10%. And I'm going to get rid of the border right. And we'll just leave the border left. I'll go ahead and hit save. We'll refresh it. And this kind of gives you a kind of a funky look here for the left-hand border. Let's say we want to put our pull quote in a box. So that's something I like to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to change my margins here. Again, you can play around with any of these settings. If you don't like my margins, use your own margins. So we're going to say 20, 30. So we're going to say 20, 50, and 30. So this will be the top and bottom, and the left. The middle one is left, right. The other two are top and bottom. So I'm going to change my padding on this to, let's say, 15 pixels and 60 pixels. And again, top, bottom, left, right. I don't want a really thick line, so I'm going to change my pixels here to say 3. I'll keep it solid and I'll keep it red. And I want to add, I don't want a border radius. I mean, if you want one, you can keep it on there. I don't want one, but I do want a box shadow. So we're going to go ahead and add a box shadow. So this is going to, the first two numbers control your top, bottom, right, left. So your X and Y axis, and then the third one is how much of a spread it's going to have. And then we're going to do RGBA, and this is controlling your colors. So the first three are your red, green, and blue. And then your fourth one is going to be your opacity. So we're going to make it solid. So this should put a box around it with a solid border that's off 15 pixels to the right and 15 pixels down. So let's see if we got that correct. No, I didn't put the borders all the way around. So let's try it again. See, here I just did border left. We want to get rid of border left. We want to make it border all the way around. Hit save. Now it should work. So we'll go ahead and hit refresh. There we go. We've got a border all the way around it with a solid drop shadow underneath. Now if you wanted to add some color to the background, we can simply do that as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add background and pick a color. So let's see, this is kind of a reddish, grayish kind of background. So if I hit save changes, refresh, now I have a solid color in my background. And again, if I don't like that font color, I can always change it here. So let's say I wanted to make the font now black. Simply add whatever color you want. I'm going to make it black because I don't think the gray looks great with the background color. So we'll make it black. There it is. Now I kind of like the square, but what if you wanted to make this oval? So let's do that. So now we're going to add a border radius. In our case, we're going to do 50%. I'm going to change the padding so it's just 60 all the way. I'm going to get rid of my margins here. Okay, I think this should work, so let's go ahead and try it out. So let's go ahead and refresh. So now you have a pull quote that's in ovals. Again, play with, if yours doesn't look good, play with the margins, play with the padding, play with the font size, play with the colors, play with all of it, and get the look that you want. So now that we've done all this, one of the things I would like to mention is don't forget the media query. Because what happens when you just do what I just did and you don't change how it's going to look on a cell phone or how it's going to look on a tablet, then you end up getting it so it looks kind of, that's way too big for a cell phone. That's way too big. So let's go ahead and do a media query real quick. Now, you'll do the media query for whichever one you want. I'm just going to show you on this last one because it's quite tedious to do them for all of them. Okay, to add a media query, what you're going to do is you need to type in the @ sign, and then you're going to type in media, and then we're going to type in screen because we're dealing with the screen size, and then the word and then you're going to put parentheses, and then you're going to say minimum width. So what size are we dealing with? So the first one we're going to deal with is, let's say, a tablet. So we're going to say the minimum width would be 769 pixels. And then the maximum width will be 980 pixels. Now, if you have different tablets that you want to target, you're going to change these numbers, or you're going to add additional ones. You can have one for 769 to 800. You then have 801 to 850. I mean, you can do whatever you want for the different size tablets and cell phones out there. So then I'm going to put an open and close curly bracket. Then I'm going to go ahead and drop that below. And to make things easier, I'm literally just going to copy this. And then I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to change these numbers where I want. So you'll notice I have the CSS in between the curly brackets for the media query here. So that's important to do. So I've gone ahead and I've already done all these numbers. I'm not going to go over them all. You're going to do the numbers that you think look best on the devices you are targeting. So I'm just going to cut and paste the numbers I already have. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for different screen sizes. And again, you will play with the different numbers to get the ones that you want. So I went ahead and copied it. I'm going to paste it. So instead of 769 to 980, I want to do a cell phone that is landscape. So I'm going to say 480 pixels to 768, which is one number less than this one. So now if a screen size is in between 480 pixels and 768 pixels, it's going to use this CSS code. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it, what I already have done. So we're going to go and paste that. So as you can see, like, I changed the padding, I changed the font sizes. So I do that so it looks better on the smaller devices. And then on the final one, we're going to do media screen, and the maximum width is 479. Again, that's one smaller than the minimum width here. And so this one will affect any size phone. So say it's 100 pixels up to 479 pixels. It will then use these sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and save all these changes. So now if we come back here and we refresh this, and if I look at it on smaller phones, you can see it changes the look because those are the custom things I have in the CSS in the media query. So as you can see, these are all different sizes, and it's based on what I have right here in all these media queries. So that's something that's really important. So whichever way you want to change your block quote, or almost any, and actually pretty much any CSS you do, you want to make sure you change the media screen sizes. So if you, and you can make these, again, you can go 981 to 1100, you can go 1101 to 1400. You can do it the size you want to affect whatever size screens you're dealing with. So I know, like iPhones and Samsungs, and they all have different size screens, and it's really frustrating when you're designing stuff in Divi or actually anywhere. This is how you can make sure you have the right look for the screen that it's going to be on. All right, so I know I got a little confusing at the end here, so hopefully you're able to stay with me. All right, if you want to read more about how to do this, I did do a write-up on dividude.com, and I also have put the CSS that I used throughout this tutorial on here. So you can go ahead and come here and you can copy it and use that CSS if you want. If you like the video, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, you can always sign up for my newsletter. I don't send it out very often, but if you go to divido.com, be sure to sign up for my newsletter. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.